Hey, so I'm headed to a wedding. Some of you know that I'm a minister, and one of the things that I do on the side, one of the things I like to do on the side is to officiate weddings. And because I live in this world, I start to think about what would weddings be like when SHTF. I'm gonna fix my camera here. Looks like I'm falling over to the side. And this road is really bumpy, so sorry. But anyway, so one of the things I think about is what would weddings be like in SHTF. So what are weddings like now? So when you go to a wedding, of course, you have a venue. And I've done weddings in many different venues. I've done them in five-star hotels. I've done them in five-star hotels where the bride didn't think that the five-star hotel utensils were good enough, so she had her own brought in. Very crazy, very posh, a lot of money. It was crazy because my wife and I eloped. And to be honest with you, after doing all the weddings that I've done, and I've done many, I would still elope. But some of my favorite ones, so I've done them anywhere from five-star hotels all the way down to the foyer of a house. So I did one for someone that I knew, and it kind of walked in. I'm like, all right, guys, where do we want to do it? And they said, right here would be fine. And we were in the foyer of their home. So I've done them all the way from five-star hotels, foyers of homes. But one of the things that one of the places that I really liked, the venues, was a backyard. I love backyard weddings, man, because it's usually friends and family and things are really low key and it's just fun, right? There's always a little bit of stress in weddings. That's always going to happen no matter what, but just a little bit more laid back, and it just seemed to be more fun for me and usually for everybody else too. So anyway, so you need a venue, right? Of course, you need the couple. You need that before whatever. You need the marriage license, and you need an officiant, someone who's going to do that. Right now, I'm a pastor and I do weddings or whatever. But nowadays, you can go online and you can become an officiant. I mean, you just pay a fee and you can go marry people. And actually, I've done some weddings where one bride one time had her sister go get officially, or she became an officiant, although the sister didn't trust it, so she still wanted me there. But it was kind of like we did a dual thing where I did most of it, but she did some of it as well. It was kind of weird, but anyway, we try to be there for the couple. My main thing for doing this is just to be there and to be a point of contact for faith, and that's one of the things that I tell my couples is later on down the road, if they're not believers, if they need to talk to someone about spiritual matters, then they've made that contact with me already. And so hopefully they feel comfortable to contact me. But anyway, so what do you need? You need all that stuff. So, but what about SHTF? What if we were in a situation where you weren't able to do a venue, you weren't able to get a DJ or a band, and you weren't able to invite all of your family and all of that for whatever reason, right? Well, one of the things that I always like to really focus on is when I'm reading a dystopian novel. Like, for instance, Mark Goodwin in his books has had a couple of these in the past, and so I always kind of pay attention to these where people, and because they're faith-based, right? The couple winds up getting married, and so in an SHTF situation, I'm kind of all over the place here, but anyway, so in the books, they wind up getting married and all that good stuff, and they have, the bride, they do the best they can with what they have, right? So it's a fun time, it's an exciting time. They're getting married, and so they go in, they find a nice place, maybe on property wherever they're at. They clean up, they put on their nicest dress that they have. The groom usually does that, right? He does that too. Takes a bath, shower, whatever, puts on the nicest clothes that he has, and they go and there is a minister usually, or at least someone who is acting like a minister, who performs the ceremony and says a few words, and then they wind up, they kiss or whatever, and then that's it. They usually have, if someone, or they have the ability to, someone bakes a cake, whatever. There's a little bit of celebration afterwards, right? And that's all it would entail. And so if we were in a situation like that, if we ever were, there's going to be people, of course, it's very accepted nowadays, where people just live together, and that's just it. But for those of us who are coming from a faith background, those of us who are believers and believe that marriage is between a man and a woman, so they're going to want to have a ceremony, right? They're going to want to have something like that, so that it's viewed, I guess, in the eyes of God, right? Okay, so you have that. So what is necessary? So this is what is necessary if you ever were in a situation like this. A man and a woman who decided to get married, and they decided to ask God to bless it, and that's it. That's all that's needed, right? There's nothing else is needed. Of course, I mean, the venue and all that kind of stuff, you don't need a marriage license. Marriage license, I mean, that's not in the Bible. Marriage license are basically something from the state. The state does that so they can keep track of who's married and who's not. And so that's all by the state. That's nothing that you have to do if you're in a poop hit the fan situation. There wouldn't be anybody to go. I mean, there wouldn't be offices to go to anyway, right? So you don't even really truly need a minister to be able to do that. Now, if someone could stand in that and do some scripture reading and stuff like that, I mean, that would be great, and be able to say a few words, that would be great. But really, there is nothing that is necessary other than that. Now, you want to make it the best you can. You want to make it feel like, for women, you know, the wedding ceremony or the wedding is like a big deal. So you want it as nice as possible. But as far as what you need, you don't need all that stuff, right? So there you go. I wrote an article, actually a couple of articles way back when, and I don't even know if I still have them up. It was on another website that I took down, and it kind of went through the process. It was like a 3-part process of weddings and what would you do and stuff like that. Like, you might want to have like a family Bible where you write down the date, if you know the date and you're tracking that. And you might want to be able to say, hey, on this date, these two were married. And so you have a place where that is formally written down, I guess, in a family Bible. You could do that. Of course, you could do baptisms, and you can do birth dates and all that kind of stuff in something like that. And so, but anyway, I talked a little bit about all that might be involved if you wanted to do something like that. I even wrote a wedding ceremony, like, so if someone wanted to print it off and they wanted to do a PDF of it, they could, right? And so they would have that. So it would be where you just plug in the names of who was getting married, and so it would walk you through the ceremony. So at least you would have something, right? So anyway, I'll try to find that, and if I find it, I'll link to it. If I don't, I need to find where I put it, and then I need to maybe upload it again to one of my websites. But anyway, I just thought I'd just share a few things like that. What do you think? You know, I know, ladies, if you're watching this video, what would you really want in that ceremony if it was a poop hit the fan situation? Guys, I mean, guys usually just want to show up, get it done, and it's over with, right? But anyway, just a few ideas and a few thoughts. Let me know what you think. Peace.